Hey everyone.
Give folks one more minute to get into the room. Yeah, we're missing a few folks. And Steve, if you don't mind, can I give a couple of updates before we go into the agenda? I can't hear you, but I don't know if that's me. Did anyone else hear Steve? No. Okay, Steve, no one can hear you, unfortunately. And you're not muted, so it makes me think it's some kind of issue with the microphone. So while Steve gets his microphone figured out, I wanted to share a couple of initiatives with folks on this call. One has been launched by the America 250 Commission, the National Commission, and it is called America's Field Trip. And so America's Field Trip is a program where students are encouraged to participate in an essay contest and then can win a prize where they are sent along with other students to different exclusive tours and sites around the country. So one of the prizes is going up to the top of the Statue of Liberty, to the top of the torch. And there are some tours of the Smithsonian and things like that that are linked to the 250th Commission on the national scale. So for anyone on here, if you can share that with your circles, your networks, and I'm happy to share additional information if that would be helpful. But I threw in the link, and I threw in the chat a link to the America 250 website. The other program that is ongoing is a Democracy and Dialogue virtual exchange program, and that is being run by the Smithsonian. And they are looking to support educators and their students in a series of place-based activities that celebrate their community's unique role in the 250th. So I have heard less about this one, but they have quite a bit of information available on the website. And we've been asked to share this widely. And this seems like the right group to help with those initiatives. So let's see, Steve, can we test out your mic? No, we still can't hear you. The other thing might, to fix a microphone, if you can hit the little caret next to the mute, if there are different microphones available, it just might be selecting a different mic on there. Hopefully that's an easy fix.
How about that? Better?
Perfect.
Oh, great. Sorry, I don't know how that happened, but Cindy, could you tell folks, because I've had a couple questions in general, not detailed, there is a National 250 Commission, correct?
Correct.
What's the connection? You gave a couple, but in general, what's the connection between that and like the Connecticut Commission, if any?
There is no formal connection. We exist, we are completely separate from the National Commission. They are mainly focused on creating national initiatives that are really focused on marketing and visibility for the 250th, I would say, are their biggest goals. We have a stronger working relationship with the American Association for State and Local History, as they're really looking at a thematic approach to the 250th that really delves deeper into topics related to the founding of our nation and kind of the creation since then of the United States. So, but that said, the National Commission is going to be doing some national initiatives with wide visibility. So they are exciting opportunities it would be great to see a student in Connecticut be one of the 75 prize winners. So we definitely support anybody going out and participating in those.
And the other thing I had is a question. Somebody said that they'd read that there was some money from hotel taxes or something, or that can you just talk a little about budget issues?
Yeah, so there was a proposal by Jason Rojas, who is one of the representatives at the state level. And he proposed an increase in hotel taxes to fund the 250th initiatives. Unfortunately, well, that was not moved out of the Commerce Committee, so that will not be moving forward. We have, and in general, appropriations in the state of Connecticut has decided not to reopen the state budget this year, so there will not be an increase in funding to the commission through the state budget process. There may be some funding for the commission through American Rescue Plan Act funds. And we have requested $2 million through those, but we won't know for a few more weeks whether that comes through or not. So in the meantime, we are planning on level funding, focusing most of our efforts on fundraising from the private sector, and then also just trying to accomplish as much as we can with little to no actual funding. So that is where the work of this subcommittee is really important, because the more we can kind of gather and share resources that already exist, the more we can support educators and the work that they're doing. And outside of that, we will let everybody know and have probably at least some virtual fireworks if we get some funding.
Bilal, anything from your end that you want to share with everybody before we break up?
Yeah, I didn't have nothing specific. No, that sounds great.
Does anyone have any just general questions about 250 before we break into our smaller groups? Any other questions that Cindy could perhaps answer? Oh, one more, Cindy. Could you just explain sort of the relationship between Connecticut CT Humanities and the group that we're all in, America 250 activities? Is like CT Humanities running it, or just sort of what's that relationship?
Yeah, so we are the administrators for the commission. So most of the work that will need to be done will be done by us. And actually, that's a great reminder. Thanks, Steve. I would like to also point out that we have Rachel Gonzalez here joining us today, and she is our new administrative assistant for the 250th Commission, and will be involved with these subcommittees and the work that we're doing. And I'm sure you'll all be hearing from her plenty as we move forward. So Connecticut Humanities will be responsible for the vast majority of the work. We are also making funding of 250th projects a priority, for our granting as we move forward. And outside of that, working closely with the commission to really guide the work that we're doing and take feedback and ideas from commissioners, and make sure that the 250th in Connecticut really is in line with what commissioners are expecting.
Great. So Cindy, should we break into our subgroups?
Yeah, I'm working on getting everybody into the right groups. So bear with me for just a moment. And in about 30 seconds, you should get a request to join a group. I'm going to have questions for a couple of folks. So the 3 groups that we're breaking out today, I hope on the agenda you notice that content creation and resources will be meeting together today. And then we will have outreach and higher ed meeting as well. And then there were some questions for each of those groups within the agenda, and we'll be doing a short report out after we meet. Is
any way you can slide that into the chat for each group? I'm looking to see where chat is at. It's not on here. Okay, where is it? Maybe I don't have my screen. I don't have it on. Yeah, I see it now. Yep. All right.
Okay. And let me grab that link. I preset the groups before we all logged in, and of course Zoom has decided to ignore that. So, but I will throw in the chat the URL for the agendas, because I think I won't be able to send it to you once we've broken up into our groups. So if somebody in each of the groups can open that up.
And I think you did send it out in an email today, right, Cindy, too?
Yep. And we are almost done on the last couple of folks. And Abby, do you have a preference? I'm sorry, I didn't have your preference for a group recorded.
Nope, that's okay. This is my first meeting, so it's nice to meet everybody, kind of. I was going to be in resources.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then the only other, Ola and Sally, if you guys could share your preference.
It doesn't matter to me. If there's a space you need to fill, I'll go there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me either. Hello, everyone.
Okay, I'll just split you guys up then. And now here we go.
Look like someone just joined too. I don't know. Yeah.
Perfect.
Cindy, I think my invitation got bounced or something, or I might have hit something.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I had a meeting that ran over.
No, don't worry. I am trying to figure out how to reissue an invitation.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Let's see.
It was there and then it disappeared, and I don't know if I did something.
So give me one moment. I'm going to move you to a different room and then move you back in and see if that works.
Okay.
So, and now I moved you back to room 1. Did you get another
Room
link?
1 is what I'm supposed to be in?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Worried that we interrupted other people's conversations. There we go.
Yeah, I was about to tell Matt she's about to snatch us out. So
I know. It was the best thought of the day. Now it's gone. It's too bad.
Cindy, is our goal, do we have each group sort of report out? Is that what you'd like? I'd ask my distinguished group if somebody could report out from that group on what we talked about.
Where am I? I'll start, but Danielle certainly can jump in, and Abby too. So one of the things, and Sally, you'll like this. Because Sally and I talked about this. Our big thing was that teachers need time to be together to discuss what they already do, how they might shift their gaze, given some of the new parameters of what the state is asking us to do in Connecticut Do 50. We were talking about the conference, framing it as one of the frames was paradox of freedom. Giving teachers time to collaborate, to figure out what they've already, what they use, but perhaps to learn some new things themselves from some of the new scholarship that's out there. And then, for them to test and try out some of their lessons with their students. And I know Danielle had a good point about community. I'm throwing it to you.
Yeah, and so with community, there are so many things that are already out there, and to see what is out there and involving the students in community, but also there are things that are going on in the communities itself. So there are commissions that are starting up. There are historical societies that are out there. So for instance, I teach in Bristol, and the 250th commission is just starting up in Bristol, and they reached out to us and asked for a teacher to be on the commission because they wanted to have our input into what's going on. So trying to get things involved that way is really important. And so seeing what schools already do and not reinvent the wheel. So having a big resource list of what are teachers already doing, and then seeing kind of what are teachers wish lists. I also work for the last 10 years at the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History, and we have these awesome wrap kits that teachers can borrow, and I swear there's only 4 of us that borrow them. And there are so many things that are out there that people just don't know. So if those things get out there, the community of teachers and museums and institutions can just be so involved together. So Abby, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else.
Could I just say one thing first, Abby?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Go ahead.
apologize. My apologies. I think we came up with the idea, and if this is going on to other groups, our apologies, but that there's many school superintendents that don't even know that America 250 exists yet. And that part of our job, our collective job, is to let that information go out. Because we think that once superintendents will hear about this, they'll want, and in some cases insist, that their schools be involved in this. But the first step is getting those superintendents knowledgeable about that. So that's something we thought was important. Abby?
Yeah, and I think the last piece to this is something more tangible that we can provide teachers with. And going back to Liz's point of that paradox of freedom, shifting people's mindsets is tough sometimes when teachers are teaching for a long time. they're doing the same thing because it works, right? And we don't necessarily think of other perspectives or untold perspectives at that point. So providing teachers with sources, like primary sources, especially for older grades, I think that's huge. And I think everybody in our group kind of agreed that high school teachers are constantly looking for sources that meet the challenges they have within their classrooms, but access to those to allow them to explore those other perspectives and go outside of what they've been comfortable with that that idea of commemoration in mind. And I know I had been talking to some colleagues recently that a lot of professional development now is around pedagogy and more educational concepts and not necessarily about content. And I know like history teachers love learning new stuff. So if we can put some of that new stuff that they might not have had access to, new scholarship into their hands, it can get them excited about trying new things.
Right.
Rachel, did we miss anything? We're good?
I think you got it. Higher ed.
Well, how about your college group? What'd you guys talk about?
I was about to say, I felt like we started off with more people on the screen. It seemed like it got small. I'll start off with a part of the conversation. I thought it was a very rich conversation that we had. It started off with, Matt giving sort of an overview of Campus Compact, but I'll let him sort of talk about, give highlights of that. But what certainly coming out of the conversation, one of the things we realized, this is probably of the groups that sort of least sort of formed in terms of the work to do with higher ed. So we spent a lot of our conversation really thinking about how do we form this in a way that we can sort of expand and deepen the conversation. And certainly one of the things we drew the conclusion of is that there's not enough of us who are sort of based in higher ed and can be a part of this conversation. It's just a part of the subcommittee in general. So one of the things we, really talked about was that we need to expand this group by, using our sort of contacts at different institutions to try to pull together some sort of a convening of some folks at a sort of smaller level to have these conversations about how do we be impactful, how do we sort of establish, work on college campuses, and ultimately building toward something that would be larger, that would bring in more sort of key leaders from the institutions to really sort of talk about a range of things from, courses, civic engagement, and community engagement, speakers. I mean, just a range of possible kinds of activities and, that can go on the campuses, but really just feeling like we need more minds to be able to come together to make that conversation happen than we have right now. I mean, Kathy and Matt, any corrections or more sort of elaboration you could sort of make?
I wouldn't say a correction. I would say we were exploring the idea of having, in addition to, I think, activating some more people to kind of join, kind of this level of a group of, if there's a way to stimulate ideas on campuses by having campuses form teams to come together for like an in-depth planning piece. I actually think, to the first group's idea, this idea of like people need time and space to think about this work and then to make it their own. And, there's not one thing we're going to say like, oh, higher ed, go do this. I think by saying that, you automatically confirm that it will never happen in higher education. So part of it is just how do we create the space for folks to come together with a common charge and possibility and let them get excited about the ideas that they can generate and what other and stealing ideas from other people, right? And going back and saying, hey, we can feasibly do this. But for us to kind of do that. So I think we were talking about how can we leverage this, the official commission to help sponsor something where we can send, ask for teams from campuses to come together to do some planning with some facilitation around that to kind of advance some of the activities because they're going to do their own thing anyways. But that could help generate some of the strategy and examples that we can promote.
Anything from you, Kathy, or no? Okay. Well, that's our official report back.
And I'll go ahead for outreach, but please, anybody offer any thoughts that I skip over, but really thinking about putting any resources we create in as many places as possible, and thinking about all of the different people that we need to get involved to share this, seeing as how word of mouth is really important. So teachers, superintendents, administrators, boards of ed, students, museum educators, going back to presenting at conferences and other places where professional development is already taking place. So mentioned specifically was the ASH conference, Connecticut Council for the Social Studies, the Connecticut Library Association, the League of Museums, the Connecticut Association of School Librarians. And if anybody else has any ideas that are not on that list, please feel free to share them with me. And we'll be putting together kind of a pretty comprehensive list of where the commission can go to get out information about what we're doing. And then thinking about librarians and how professional development can be an opportunity for outreach. And how in particular, any opportunities for cross-district professional development is great, because then we can hit more places with fewer people, seeing as how we'll have a limited team out there doing this work. And we talked about the need for buy-in from administration in order to trickle down this information to teachers and ensure that teachers have support in implementing this. Possibly looking to see if we can get a state board of education meeting focused on 250th and how teachers can be involved. A reminder not to forget about GED and ESL programs as a good place to reach folks. And then possibly getting together a group of students to brainstorm ideas of how we might connect with younger people. And I have JHD and Rebecca on here as volunteers, so it is written down. But thinking about the Connecticut Association of Student Councils, History Day, the students who participated in Declaring Freedom, and getting those students who are really passionate and excited to get buy-in and create a plan for what they would like to see in terms of engagement. So anything else, feel free to add, folks. Those were the notes I got.
I think the most important, Cindy, we talked about this a bit too, is getting to superintendents. I think a meeting at CAPS, which I can help arrange if that's necessary, the superintendent's group, that's really perhaps real important.
Yeah, that group came up as definitely one we wanted to reach out to.
Yeah.
And do we have a media partner or partners for this?
We do not yet. We've had a very preliminary conversation with Fox 61 and with Connecticut Public, but both are looking for a significant financial investment, and we're just not sure where we're going to land. So,
yeah.
But if anybody has any ideas of folks who might want to do a low-cost partnership, we are happy to entertain it.
Well, we didn't get to this in the higher ed group, but one of the things I was thinking about was just all the college radio stations, right? And some are affiliated with larger networks, but I think it could be a part of a broader storytelling initiative. And it could be, again, another way to kind of engage the campuses.
Yeah, Cindy, I'm the chair of the board for the Connecticut Mirror. And so we should have a conversation with Bruce Putterman about how the mayor can be involved. Yeah.
Great. Great. Well, thank you very much, everyone. This has been great and lots of wonderful ideas that we'll be looking over and thinking about how we can implement it in the coming months.
Just, sort of a question and also for us, Kathy and Matt, I think we should really be, thinking very quickly about who are some of those leaders, you guys, part of your network that we should pull together. And Cindy, is that something you can help us do with sort of facilitating the reaching out? And again, I don't know if and we should probably, maybe we can talk through email about whether we're thinking about something that would be virtual or something in person, or how do we do? But I just think we need some leaders on different campuses to have some real allies who could help push some of this on individual campuses and generate some ideas. So, but we'll be definitely working with you, Cindy, on that. Yeah.
Perfect.
It would also be helpful even just to get an updated roster of who's on this committee. Because I know that there's some other higher ed folks that are not here today, I believe. There's 2 or 3 others. So.
Yeah.
And we came up with a lot of ideas with the 3 of us. I can't imagine if 6 of us were in that breakout room, but at the same time, I do think, this is going to be a networked approach, right, to build momentum.
Cindy, we good?
I think we're good. Thanks everyone for your time today.
Thank
And
you.
we'll
This
be
was
back.
fun,
We'll be-
Rachel.
We'll be back to you.
Thanks.
See you.